Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Lant, Paul Bassett and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity podcast, episode 146. We are just 4 episodes away from that big landmark of 150, and we have some fantastic guests lined up over the next few weeks, and we are joined by a fantastic guest today as well for something that's going to be different, a bit different than we spoke about before, but still an important element of health, but that we haven't spent time talking about before, and maybe you might not have spent time thinking about before, because I certainly hadn't. But we will get to our guest in a minute. First of all, though, I will introduce you to the usual hosts of the podcast and check in with them and see what's going on. Mr. Peter Lant, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and it was nice to see you at the weekend as well. We were at the UK's strongest man and woman in Nottingham with your man. What was his name? Glenn Ross.
Glenn Ross is the main.
Yeah,
the main man.
doing that introduction over and over and over again.
Literally, I just said to a client earlier today, I think it was Tuesday, the night after it had all finished, maybe when I got back home, I literally in my sleep, I was hearing him going, ladies and gentlemen, for the coveted Cerberus trophy. You know, it's like...
I was pointing out, we went past a truck on the motorway on the way home. I was like, oh, Kalina, look.
Yeah.
That was who was sponsoring it.
Kalina and Cerberus. Yeah. Oh, it was a brilliant event though, wasn't it? Really,
it was amazing. That Lucy Underdown doing that deadlift, she made it look so easy.
Yeah.
So if nobody knows what she did, she lifted 305 kilo on a 10-foot bar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But 305 kilo deadlift for a world record. And she made it look, and that was on day 3 after lifting heavy stuff and after lifting 200, 220, 240, 260, 270, 280, then 305 because she won the event. Then she didn't need to do the world record, but she did it anyway. And she had more in the tank and that's fatigued. So it was astounding. It was amazing.
I was lucky enough to sort of meet her afterwards and Belle had a picture with her, and she'd said she really looks forward to just training for that and seeing what she can do and not doing all the other events, just trying to peak for a deadlift. Because, I think she probably had another 20 kilos
easy.
It was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely, like I say, we're connected with some of these people now from there, and I'd love to maybe get some more guests on the podcast from the event that we met. So no, that was a great, it was good to see you. And I'll be seeing you again in August, probably the next time when we're at the Britain's Disabled Strongman in Somerset. So,
I'm well looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, no, that's going to be great. Right, Mr. Paul Bassett, in your kitchen in Putney, how are you doing, sir?
It's an upgrade from the bed sit, yeah?
It's a different corner of the bed sit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get to experience different kind of landscapes depending on where I sit in the room, really. I'm thinking of just sticking a mirrored wall so I can double the space.
That's a technique used by restaurants and shops and stuff, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
probably to make themselves look bigger. Yeah, good.
That's it. Yeah. So, and my weekend's far less interesting, I'm afraid. So, just spent it entertaining children, going out to the South Downs, which was very nice.
Oh, lovely. No, that's very nice. Yeah, that's a lovely weekend. Yeah, and it was good weather, wasn't it? So you were walking and doing various things there.
Playing frisbee.
Okay. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, our guest who is joining us today is Brett Sanders. How are you doing, Brett?
I'm very good, thank you. Oh, I've lost my voice there. Bad start.
Have you got some? He's got some water. Good.
We'll cut that.
Very bad start.
He's going to come. That's okay.
I was talking fine earlier.
Should we call you Bob Fleming instead?
Oh, God.
He was talking fine before we press record. I'll give a brief intro to Brett, and then I'll hand over to him. Really, now Brett is someone that I've known. We were talking about before coming on the pressing record. I think probably Brett taught me a barefoot running course about, I think it's probably between around 13, 14 years ago now.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I've not gone back. So we started, we did a 6-week barefoot running course, just 1 hour a week for 6 weeks. And I've known Brett since then. And he was always someone who, I said before we came on, the podcast name is obviously Health Oddity. And we're trying to look for things that are slightly off the mainstream and slightly different, and introduce you to some different thoughts and things that you may not see on the mainstream websites and podcasts and things. And Brett back then was someone who would talk about eating organs and eating liver and drinking raw milk and bone broth and training with your shoes off and all this kind of stuff, which back then I thought it was a bit wacky and a bit weird. But now that kind of has become a lot more mainstream and a lot more talked about, and it's stuff that I kind of took on board and still do now. So yeah, he's a really interesting character, and I don't want to give too much away, but we'll kind of talk about this with Brett as we go. But he's had a really interesting background, and the journey he's on now and what he does now, like I mentioned in the intro, is kind of it is all around health, but it's from a slightly different angle. So we can kind of look at that as we go. So, Brett, do you want to maybe start off by giving us a bit of a backstory in terms of, because I know obviously what you're doing now, but it's really interesting to know where you've come from on your journey to then bring you to where you are now and what you do now, because it's kind of connected and it kind of isn't, but it's coming at it from a slightly different angle. So, what's your background and how have you got here?
Of course, hopefully my voice holds out this time. It's on Health Oddity. It's not the best start to be less than a picture of health, but I'll try. So I've been in the fitness industry my entire adult life, and actually even sort of through the end of my childhood, I guess. So I qualified as a fitness instructor first when I was 16. So I was the youngest person on my course by some measure. And it was all I ever wanted to do from that point on. The fitness industry was everything to me. It was seeing people achieving goals and overcoming obstacles and lifting weights and running further distances and getting fitter. And it was brilliant. And then as I did more and more courses and learned more and more things, every single thing I was learning, I was putting into these gym members and personal clients' lives. And what I found was, despite people doing what I learned as a fitness instructor, which was largely exercise-based and movement-based, very basic at the time, despite them doing everything I had taught them, they weren't always getting the results that maybe they deserved from their efforts. And then by chance, I came across Paul Chek from the Chek Institute. And back then, this was probably close to 20 years ago. He was very, very unique in the fitness industry, doing all sorts of unusual things. And it immediately piqued my interest because it was different. And I thought, well, if what I'm doing isn't working, maybe different is going to be the right thing to help people get their results. And with Paul Chek, I learned different exercise techniques. So I implemented those, people got better results, but then still there were some people who didn't always get exactly what they wanted to gain from their efforts. So then you think, well, okay, we've done movement, we've done everything we can with movement. What else is next? Food. So we learned all about organic farming, and the quality of the food dictates the quality of your body. And I'm sure you guys have talked about this with many of your other guests, because back then it wasn't particularly commonplace for fitness people to be talking about food. It was more exercise. Now it's very well known. It's majority food and then exercise on top of that. From that point of view, where it was organic food, clean eating, natural eating, to do with what I don't know if it's really a phrase still used in the fitness industry, but metabolic typing, so dictated by the part of the world you're from. So it was all very natural focused. I learned about not just what goes in your body, but what goes onto your body is also an important part of it. So at the time, my then wife was working in the beauty industry. So as you can imagine, beauty industry is full of every new product you can possibly imagine for every different part of the body and everything else. And it was a simple decision to say, all of these things you're putting onto your body, 60 to 70% of those things are going into your body. So you read the labels and you see all of these different chemicals, hundreds, thousands of chemicals making up different ingredients for your moisturizers and your hair products and everything else. Well, what if we're thinking about the internal structure of our body, and if we want to be healthy on the outside, we've got to focus on the inside like we were doing with our food. Maybe we need to think about removing those products that are going onto the body and potentially causing toxicity. So, being the quite extreme person that I am, we decided to cut everything out straight away. And we're talking now maybe 10, 11 years ago, probably, this journey started. And there wasn't as much choice back then. So we tried everything, all the different products, and some of them were met with success, some of them weren't. Deodorant was where we really came unstuck, because you could try a new shampoo, for example. I'm not sure if you're using much shampoo these days, James.
You're on the wrong podcast for that.
If you're trying a new shampoo and it's not quite as good as your chemical-based shampoo, no one's really going to know the difference. If you try a deodorant that's not really as good as your commercial deodorant, people are going to quickly stop inviting you to parties. And we tried every single natural deodorant that was out there, the crystals and the little sprays, and there was so many different types, and none of them did the job of deodorant.
I think I remember. Can I just kind of? I do remember some kind of crystal that you used, and I think I used to use, or someone introduced me to this year. I've totally forgot it out of my mind. But it's like a crystal that you put water on it and you dampened it, and then you put it under your arms, and it was meant to kind of stop the odor or something very naturally, you know. So I do remember that. Like, I mean, this is probably 15 years ago plus, you know, this is a long time ago. Yeah.
That's right. And not only does it not actually deodorize, it'll end up falling out the case and cracking on the bathroom floor. But that aside, it was almost like all of these products were like, well, it's natural. What do you expect? Just reapply as necessary. And we were like, that's not good enough. I was a personal trainer at the time. You see clients every hour. It was like, I'd finish the hour, have a whiff, and have to go off to the changing rooms to reapply deodorant, or just have a wash and just do away with all deodorant altogether. So if that's your decision to cut out the chemicals, then that's what you've got to do. So we thought there's got to be a better option here. We researched some ingredients, natural ingredients that would be able to put together and create a product that was going to be a deodorant for us. And when I say life-changing, I don't want to sound too exaggerating, really, because, you know, there's a lot more important things in life than not smelling. But in terms of first world problems, it was a life changer. And we get reviews like this all the time. Life-changing is a common term that people say. And we'd put this thing on and it would last all day. And then on those days where you're a little bit gross and you don't have a shower, those rare ones, it'd go into the second day and you still don't smell. And it was just, we were onto something here. So then we told family and friends about it, and they were like, okay, we'll try some. Everyone's coming back with this same unanimous feedback. You've got to start a business here, which was never the intention.
So initially, you were just making these products up for yourself, for your own use, and you were just mixing ingredients together and using them yourself. And like you say, start to give them to a few friends and a few family to try, and then this was the feedback, yeah?
Exactly. So, you know, a business was born 2015. Very long, feels like a very long time ago now, and we've modified from that original product that we had. We've changed the packaging a few times. We've now got a range of 12 different deodorants, different scents, different formulations that we've learned across the way for different people's skin types. And 8 years on, we're in 700-800 retailers around the world, constantly in the top 40 or so or deodorants of all types, natural or otherwise, on Amazon. And almost unanimously 4 to 5 star reviews. So yeah, it's going really well from an idea that was really to scratch our own itch and stop us smelling when our principals said we don't want to use chemicals.
So just, I suppose, if we take a few steps back to probably when you first started to learn about this stuff with Paul Check and things. I mean, for people who are maybe hearing about this, I mean, because I have to admit, I know very little about this and knew very little about it. And I've been using the natural deodorant now for probably, I don't know, it's probably 2 or 3 months now. I'm on my second kind of thing of it, and I'm totally, and I was very resistant to it. I'll just be honest, because I was used to my old, antiperspirants, very quick in the morning. It's easy, you know what you're doing with it, and you just kind of get set in your ways, and it becomes part of your routine or your habit. And I remember you gave me some of this years ago, and I never took it out of the box, and it was sat there. And then I think it's probably, in fact, I was going to say to Steph, where is that? Because I can use some more again. But now that I've been using it, it is firmly a part of my routine. And I've totally not, I don't sweat as much as I used to since wearing it, and it's very, very easy to apply. But there was this kind of reticence, or what's the word, skepticism, or not even skepticism, just I think you just don't really want to try something different than what you're used to. It's just changing habits is quite a difficult thing. So but going back kind of to the start, what is wrong with putting certain not what is wrong, because we don't want to say people are right and wrong, but what is the potential harm in using a normal, like I would use, say, like a right guard, like antiperspirant spray on deodorant, like probably 95% of people do? I mean, what actually happens when you use that, and when you put these things on your skin? I understand things can seep through the skin, obviously, and absorb. What's going on there, just so we know from because most people this is going to be brand new to.
Of course. So antiperspirants, by nature, they stop you from perspiring, and they do that by creating a barrier and blocking the pores from actually sweating. Now, as we all know, I hope as all exercise fans as you are, sweating is really important. It's just a part of health. And when you don't sweat, those toxins that are meant to leave your body, not toxins that are in the product, but toxins that are naturally within all of us, they don't leave the body. They build up and they can create blocked pores. Toxins can then, studies show that they can leach up into the brain as well. So all of this, we want to minimize affecting the body's natural processes of detoxification as much as we possibly can. That's just talking about the action of the antiperspirant. It stops you from doing what your body's naturally meant to be doing. In addition to that, the ingredients within the antiperspirants and commercial deodorants, lots of them are linked to other health concerns. Now, I'm going to hold my hands up right now and say there is no proof of this, and I don't want to do myself a disservice or even the business a disservice, but to be honest with you, I believe that deodorants, antiperspirants, and the ingredients that are in them, one day it's going to be one of those things that we look back on, like smoking, before anybody knew that that was a bad thing, and go, oh yeah, we should have stopped that earlier than we did, but it hasn't yet been caught up. And I think what the concern is now, where there's all of these peripheral studies that sort of link and say, well, parabens do this, phthalates do this, can't pronounce that one, triclosan does this, and there's links to Alzheimer's, there's links to all sorts of hormonal disruption from these ingredients. One day when that is shown, we'll be grateful that there are natural deodorant options that do the job of deodorizing and don't mean you have to compromise on the product. So a lot of people who are coming to our products are coming with the mindset of, okay, there isn't any proof that this stuff's bad for me, but why wait until there is, when there's a product out there that does just the same job? It's natural.
So what is the base of the product? Because I know that you put it on and it kind of it's almost, the one I've got at the moment is like mint and eucalyptus, and it feels almost, I mean, it's a bit fun. It feels almost like I'm putting like hummus, you know. It's not like hummus, you know what I mean? But it's that kind of thing, you know. You kind of do this and then but it's really, it literally, it just feels like nothing on there. It just sort of stays there all day. I don't notice that, I don't smell at all. But plus, I don't get, you know, when you use like an antiperspirant or something, and then the armpits of all your t-shirts and stuff go like a bit funny and a bit crusty and a bit, you know, because obviously you've got the chemicals and stuff in there, and they could discolor your clothing and stuff like that. You know, you don't get any of that, do you? So what are these natural ingredients that are kind of forming the base?
Yeah, of course. So the base of all of our products is a combination of coconut oil, shea butter, and olive oil. And exactly what you said there, when people hear that's the base, they think of oily. They think it's going to transfer onto their clothes. So it's going to do exactly what the commercial deodorants are doing and stain all their tops. But like you just said there, you don't get any of that at all. Difficult to describe on a podcast, and this is why when we do things, we do shows and trade stalls in front of people, we get people over and we actually get them to feel it on their skin. And you don't need a lot, as you've probably realized as well. It disappears into the skin, almost like magic. And that's the combination of those ingredients just absorbs straight in. So that's the base. I've never heard it described as hummus, but
I'm imagining James with a bit of celery just going, oh, this is quite nice, actually.
It's probably because my son like eats a hummus all the time at the moment, but you know, no, but it's not like hummus, but you know, it's kind of, but it's got like a kind of a texture to it that's kind of, it's. I mean, I just opened the tin there. It smells really nice, but you know what I mean, it's not hummus. I don't want to say that.
Do you do your own marketing?
Yeah,
I'll try to describe it a bit more attractively. It's fine powder instead, and what you're feeling there are the active ingredients. So that's, depending on which product of ours, which range it is the sodium bicarbonate or magnesium oxide, and we also have clay in a couple of the products as well. And they are the products that absorb the moisture and actually fight the odor. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that body odor is your sweat turning stale. It's bacteria that then sits on the skin, and that is what smells. So those ingredients fight the bacteria, and hence we have a total product that you can put on once, and it's going to last you at least 24 hours without smelling.
This is really interesting. I think you put, like, I'm aware now you put things on your body. I think Phil McDougall, who we've had on the podcast, makes his own sunscreen, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Because he says about the chemicals and that and everything. And I find this fascinating because I remember years ago, I switched from using spray on to roll on because of using spray cans and stuff like that from years ago. I just remember that. So I used roll on. But I've never even really thought about this. But I remember there was a certain roll-on that you could buy, which was one of the ones that says it lasts 48 hours instead of 24 hours. And I'm always like, what scrubber goes for 48 hours without a wash? You know what I mean? But I bought that anyway, and I used it, and it made my armpits go crusty. It made them go really dry, and they started to like actually like an eczema type thing. So I stopped using it, and it went away immediately. So I was like, right, hang on, there's something on here. And then the stuff I use now is fine, or it feels fine anyway. It works and all that. But it's interesting on the clothes thing, what James was saying as well, because all my t-shirts are really old, so they're all covered in this stuff. But what I'd be interested in is you were saying you've had like lots and lots of 4 or 5 star reviews and stuff on Amazon and everywhere that you sell it.
Yeah.
What are the benefits that people notice? Because obviously it's going to work like a deodorant, right? That's a given. But what other benefits have people mentioned? Any other benefits from it, from like feeling better, or you know what I mean, like those sorts of things?
Yeah, well, like you said, even with commercial deodorants, there's a lot of people who find irritation to their skin.
Yes. So
this is very, very, because of those oils as the base, there's a lot of hydrating qualities that really sort of lead to healthier underarm skin, which, you know, it's not designed for that. It's designed to stop you smelling, but that's the reports that come back. We don't sell it for this purposes, so disclaimer, but we've had people putting it on dry skin on other parts of their bodies as well, whether it's, I rub it on my knees sometimes, or my dad used to have some rough skin on his knuckles, he'd put it on there, stuff like that. So there's, being natural ingredients, there's healing properties in there, but we're not selling it for that purpose. We're selling it as a deodorizer.
So what does the kind of, like you said, with an antiperspirant, you spray it on and it kind of effectively blocks the sweating mechanism of the skin, and then therefore stopping you smelling, if you like, because you're basically stopping yourself sweating. That's so right. with the natural deodorant that you have, what is what's the mechanism or the process that makes it effective at, you know, not stopping you sweating, but you know what I mean, from smelling and from, you know, what is going on actually with it? So
the three ingredients that we think about are the arrowroot. I forgot to mention that one earlier, but the arrowroot, it actually absorbs the sweat, so it doesn't then spire onto the skin. And the sodium bicarbonate and magnesium oxide, when they then mix with the sweat, they're just in there straight away to fight the bacteria. It prevents it from actually growing, the bacteria from growing its source.
Because I think that's what those crystals, which you used to, like you say, all those things that you used to put water on and then put under your armpit, that's what that was meant to do, wasn't it? It was like you say, that that was meant to kind of, stop the smell of sweat and kind of the compounds would kind of fight it. It's no, it's really interesting, because I think that it's, like I say, it's not something that I thought about, but now that I've been using it, I've become I've become a convert to it, and I've been like getting people at the gym to try it, because you very kindly left some jars and things. So I've been kind of getting people, and everyone I've given it to loves it, you know. But like you say, I think you have to kind of be of a certain mindset where you want to, because sometimes people can think, oh, so you want me to exercise, do you? Oh, and you want me to eat healthy, do you? And you want me to drink less alcohol, do you? And you want me to change my deodorant, do you? And people kind of think that you're trying to kind of change the whole life. So I think people have to be ready for it, don't they? And ready for change.
They do. And they have to be quite trusting of us, because what they don't want to do is put it on and then go out for that very first time and they smell and they're stuck at that point. And there's a term in the industry called a detox period, and it says that natural deodorants, that you're going to have to wait a couple of weeks to even a couple of months before all the toxins that are built up in your body have left your system. We don't agree with that term at all. We believe, and hopefully you can attest, that first time you use it, it's going to work. From that point on, you're good. You don't have to wait a couple of weeks. And it is all well and good for me to say it, and obviously for you to say it. We've known each other for some time, but this is, you know, it's hard to get people to try it because they're afraid. And natural deodorants don't have the best reputation, because there's lots of them out there that don't work. But all I can say is give it a go. We do offer a money-back guarantee if that helps, as a consolation if you do happen to smell on that first time you use it. But we're very, very confident you won't.
I take it a lot of the people who initially kind of took on the product were probably people who had maybe at the back of their mind animal welfare, you know, people who are fitness professionals, people who are interested in their health. What do you think it's going to take it out of that? I mean, it's a big niche. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, this whole industry is based off the back of kind of like organic foods and, non-tested on animals things, you know, stuff like that. The paleo movement has even got its own products. I think Mark Sisson created his own set of foods based on his principles, which he sold to a bigger company. So there's a huge market for it. But what do you think it's got to, what do you think you've got to do, or the industry has to do, in order to take it to that next level of marketing where it breaks out of the health and fitness niche and becomes something that people are more likely to kind of make an informed decision? A bit like people almost attracted to buying shoes that are not leather, you know, or made with algae instead of PVC, things like that. You know, people actually actively seek that out now. What do you think what's got to change in the industry for that to happen, do you think?
I think it's a difficult question to answer. And as you know, we're a small business. We do all of the marketing ourselves. It's not an outside agency. So we ask these questions of ourselves all the time without sort of sharing too many behind the scenes secrets. The answer is trying to hit people from all different angles. We've got a product that doesn't just do the job of deodorant. It does do the other things you've said. It's cruelty free, it's vegan, it's plastic free. So all of these things that are becoming important things for the planet as a whole, it's about meeting people where they're at. So if somebody's had challenges before with a deodorant where they've got irritation under their arms, we can market to those people. If somebody is particularly environmentally focused and they're wanting to cut single-use plastic out of their lives, we can market to those people. Do we do a return scheme on the jars? Yes. So you've got that circular nature of shopping as well. We cater to those people. Animal cruelty. So it's about finding that marketing message and getting it out to as many people as possible. It's not an easy job as a small business, and hence doing podcasts and doing the social media and trying to get that message far and wide with very little marketing budgets. What's going to actually convince people to stop using the commercial deodorants? I don't know. I do wish I knew. Answers on postcard, please, because it's such a massive industry. We're a very small part of it, but the majority of people, I would argue, wear deodorant around the world, certainly in this country, whether it's a natural deodorant or a commercial deodorant. There's a massive market to get more people using this, and then hopefully the word spreads.
I suppose it's quite... Sorry, go on, Paul. Go on.
I was about to say that, I mean, there's probably, I mean, everyone every day pretty much puts some kind of fragrance on their skins already. You know, whether it's you know, like a perfume or whatever, and some of those can be, you know, kind of carcinogenic when you look at the kind of ingredients. And so there is, I suppose there's the angle of it just smells nice as well. You know, what's the worst thing that can happen? It just smells good as well. So you can wear it from that angle.
Yeah, I think we're trying to educate as a business as well. So when most of our marketing and certainly when people end up on our email list, we're trying to educate people about what the ingredients do, a bit like what I've been saying to you guys today. And even to the point, one of the messages that I keep trying to drive home to people is all of our products. So I've mentioned the base, I've mentioned the active ingredients that do the deodorizing. We only fragrance our products with essential oils. So entirely natural, not parfum or artificial fragrances, and a lot of natural products still use those in their formulas, and they can get away with it because it's such a small percentage of their overall product, so they can stay natural and get away with it. So we're trying to get that message out there and educate, and hopefully the word spreads.
Because I suppose like Paul just touched on, it was similar to what I was going to say. You've got your potential market is obviously every single person who wears deodorant, and really you'd only need to capture, you know, if you captured 1% of the population, that would be like, you know, that's just huge, isn't it? You know, and it's the same that everybody drives a car pretty much, and there's this push now to electric cars, you know. So, you know, whether you think that's right or wrong or whatever, it's not talking about the politics of electric cars, but I'm just saying you can see how government policy and education, and then kind of the tipping point of knowledge, kind of causes people to make a decision. Right, I'm now going to go for an electric car rather than the car I've always driven. And I suppose it's similar in that way. It's similar but different. But you know, that kind of.
I suppose there's gatekeepers, though, isn't there, James? I mean, the thing is about electric cars, like London, we got the ULEZ. You know, you kind of it forces your hand to start seeking alternatives, because you don't have a choice. You just go out the door in your car and it costs you £12.50, you know, come August. So, you know, there's a kind of industry push towards that. Whereas I suppose there's guidelines within the kind of health and beauty market. Obviously, people are trying to keep the quality of the products up high. But there's no real incentive to do it. And I suppose my question would be, I mean, there's often gatekeepers, isn't there? Like in any industry. You know, in the music industry, there used to be gatekeepers. You know, if they weren't booked on a stage, no one could see you. You know, you weren't even going to get an audience if you couldn't get the gig. And so there's also the big supermarkets. There's the health food shops. I mean, what about you obviously must sit down with those people and present your product. I mean, what's the general reception? And what is the kind of market requesting as well? How have you kind of been dealing with that?
Well, we're already in Holland & Barrett stores nationwide.
Oh, wow.
So that's over 600 stores. So it's been
wow.
well received. We've been in with them now for over 4 years. No, nearly 4 years, shall I say. And that's growing from strength to strength, sales increasing all the time. So again, it's once people see it, they like it, the products look nice. So it's tempting to try. Obviously, Holland & Barrett, people are already warm there, a bit like what you talked about earlier. They're already in that health and fitness space, so they're interested. So maybe a slightly easier sell. Your other stores, whether that's your big high street supermarkets, I think that's going to be a little bit harder. You do find there are natural deodorants on their shelves, but they tend to be more the traditional roll-on types, which our product we've not really necessarily touched on. James sort of did a demonstration without mentioning it earlier, but our deodorants are a bit different to your usual spray or roll-on. They are a cream. So you apply them like you'd apply a moisturiser to any other part of your body, just under your arms. So I've got a jar here. Literally just take a pea-sized scoop on your finger, between your palms, and then rub it under your arms, and you're good to go. So that is another area where it's that little bit different to what the mainstream are used to. So we're trying to obviously overcome that as well, where it's not just, it's not your stick that you're used to, where you apply it for 3 or 4 inches away from your body. You've got to actually touch yourself under the arms as well, which for some people is a bit of a weird concept.
I remember you saying that to me, actually, and I do and I've mentioned this to a few people, and that's something that a few people have said to me as well. Like, it's almost as if applying that yourself there is it's not dirty. That's the wrong word, but like you're not used to doing it. It's being a bit more sort of intimate and close to yourself. You know what I mean? And I think the first few times I did it, it's like, oh, I haven't done, but literally, like you just did. I'm doing it now for the people listening. You can't see, but it's very easy to do it and apply it. But it is, like you say,
X-rated.
X-rated. But it is different. It's. But I think after doing it 2 or 3 times, it's so easy and so quick to do.
Yeah.
But again, that's a change, isn't it? Yeah. It's and I find
that really interesting again, because if you say deodorant, you naturally think roll on or spray straight away. You say it to anybody, and that's what they think straight away. So if you're like, here's this cream, they're gonna be like, what do I put on my face or whatever? You know what I mean? It's like, but applying a cream to your face is not a problem. So yeah,
it's arguably after does it work? How do you apply it is probably the next biggest question we get asked, and the answer is as simple as the question itself. It's you apply it like a cream that you'd put on anywhere else on your body, just under your arms, and everything else you apply to your body, whether it's moisturiser on your legs or your face or wherever, you do with your hands. So it doesn't have to be that bigger concern, although it is different to what people are used to. There's a couple of other arguments on this front as well, is that sticks that, if we're using a clean hand to apply deodorant to your underarms, then that's hygienic. If you're using this stick and you put it under your arm, you put the lid back on, and you do that day after day after day, there's when you think about it like that, it's not that clean, is it?
You've put me right off my roll on.
And
that's actually quite horrible, isn't it?
The other aspects that when we started the business definitely wasn't in our minds, but it's come to light, and it's something we're actually very proud of. Is we've had people who find lumps and things under their arms and certainly around the breast tissue near the front, where they would not have found those if they weren't applying our deodorant. So that is something that for us, it's not by design, it's by chance, but it's something we're really proud of and thankful to be a part of.
And I think it was before we started recording that we talked about, because like I say, probably just broadly, I never really thought about it previously, or didn't, and most people probably don't, that everything you put on your skin, in whether it be moisturizer, sun cream, deodorant, whatever, is gonna, it's stuff that you put in your hair if you have hair on your head, is gonna seep in through like the follicles of the head, and is gonna seep in through the skin and through the pores and things like that, and there will be an effect. And I think we were talking earlier about, so people who apply like maybe HRT cream to like the thighs and things, or you can get other topical kind of medications that you apply to the skin that then permeate through the skin layer and have an effect medically on your body, internally. So if people are in any doubt that what you apply to your skin does find its way in and do something, I mean, they were just a couple of examples of, clearly it does. Otherwise you wouldn't have that kind of medication and that method of delivery, would you?
No, absolutely. I think any doubt is that can be dismissed straight away. That one, it's really having people feel confident that this is going to work, and we've stood the test of time now. We've been around quite a lot longer than a lot of our competitors, and we're in our 9th year, and we're going from strength to strength. And long may that last, and hopefully we'll find some more people who are willing to try it after this, and then the word will spread even further.
Yeah, just quickly, just a quick one. It's really weird you mentioned about that returning the glass, because the other day I'd finished my first jar of it, and I said to Steph, I said, "Oh, what should we do with this? Can we just wash it and recycle it as glass or whatever?" So what do you mentioned you can return the glass things, yeah?
Yes.
So how does that work?
It's all recyclable. So if you choose not to return it, it's all recyclable, including the labels. They're all biodegradable as well. In most councils, I must say that. It's not necessarily all councils, but most. However, you can do once you've got, I forget now, I think it was 6. Once you've collected 6, you can send them back to us on our charge, and we'll send you a discount. So you can then get money off your next order.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, no, it's just happened because I had that conversation with Steph the other day, like in terms of finishing with it, because you didn't want to just throw it in the bin, you want to kind of like, again, and that's another example, I suppose, of how the society has changed and the mindset around society has changed around something like recycling, which only, again, it's not linked directly to this, but if we're talking about behavior change over a long period of time for the general population, how 10 years ago, the thought of recycling, which certainly wasn't as embedded in the culture as it is now, and having your different type of bins and your different bags for different recycling things. And people do just kind of do that now, don't they? Without thinking. So, or it's certainly becoming more commonplace. And
we're fortunate to be on trend in that regard, which obviously we were ahead of that trend, and rightly so, really, because it was something that was ingrained into us from those early days of speaking to Paul Check and learning about this holistic side of health, where it was all encompassing of exercise, food, lifestyle, products you put on your body. But we're now, the rest of the world, or the rest of the country, should I say, is continuing on that trend. Everything is green, eco. You can't see an advert now without that being impressed upon us.
So what else is there any kind of, I know it's a small business that you have, but you are, like you say, you're in 600 Holland and Barrett stores across the UK and things. And I think you can also, because we have quite a few listeners in America as well. You're in the US as well now, aren't you? I saw.
Yeah, so you can get us on Amazon US and on Walmart.com. So yeah, we're available wherever really.
Fantastic. And is there any thought or any vision to kind of expand upon the product range outside of, I know this is for the future, but like outside of deodorant? So we mentioned sunscreen and stuff like that, like, is there other elements of cosmetics or lotions and things that you might be able to use to come up with a similar solution to, that might kind of be different? Or
yeah, we've got some things in the works at the moment. I won't say too much, but we've definitely got some ideas, and it's hopefully things that are going to be complementary to the products. And obviously we want to ride that wave of, we've got a loyal fan base who like the products, who like the scents particularly, and the way we only use essential oils. So everything we do will follow that same pattern, and hopefully within the next few months there'll be something else coming out.
Excellent, excellent. Pete, we'll start to wrap up. I think it's been really like this. Like I say, it's been a totally different conversation today than we've had before for a podcast. But have you got any comments or questions at all as we start to wrap up?
Well, to be honest, I didn't know we'd be able to talk about deodorant for like 50 odd minutes. No, seriously, it's like, what's there to talk about? But actually, it's there's a lot more to it than just sticking something under your arms, isn't it? And also, I reckon Deborah Meaden would be all over this, by the way.
With her, she actually did invest in one of our competitors.
All right.
So,
Wow. Yeah, because right up her street, isn't it? Yeah. But no, I think I'm gonna get some. As soon as we're finished, I'm getting some.
We'll send you some.
Because I don't like my roll-on anymore from what you said.
Mate. No, that's great. Yeah, Paul, anything you'd like to sort of say as we start to wrap up?
No, I'm definitely going to buy some. I'm going to get a local Holland and Barrett because there's one in the corner. So hopefully you'll be in stock. Otherwise, I'll just pick up some from the website.
It should be.
It's fantastic. Yeah, no, I'm all for those things. Just recently found an aftershave that had a basis of shea butter, so it was just a good thing to carry in my bag. Just so I could take it out, put it in a pocket, things like that. Because you're always aware when you're a personal trainer, you're just running around all the time, training, running between people in a hot studio or whatever, and you just. Yeah, it's finding a good deodorant is actually been more on my mind than I thought about it, really.
Oh, wow, yeah, but same experience for myself. And even though I'm no longer in the fitness industry directly and doing that level of hot and sweaty, still working on the operations side of this business and being in the warehouse and continuing to make the products, it's there's days where I'm sweating and a lot, and I really smell if I don't wear deodorant. I'm one of those people, and so I will finish my days fully fresh and I don't have to worry about it anymore. It just makes you feel confident that you don't have to think about it.
I'd recommend people go and get it now as well, because it's not that warm at the minute. We're into June. Well, when we're recording this, actually, we're just into June, and it's still not as warm as it could be. So it's probably a good time to start, isn't it? Rather than waiting until it gets really hot. Just in case.
If someone is on the fence, you're not wrong. If someone's waiting for, they want to feel like they've got giving it the better chance, then maybe you're right. But we had a review recently that the headline was "Works even in hot weather," and I think they'd taken it to forget Cyprus or something like that, and they'd still had a positive experience. So that was a good sign.
The good thing, looking the way I do, like Paul just mentioned, I don't have to worry about shampoo or aftershave, so it's very easy. I use just for Paul and for Pete. You had like the men's one, didn't you? And which I used first, which was really, really good. And then this mint and eucalyptus is good as well. It's just like, because I kind of tried to pick something fairly neutral, and it's excellent.
They're all unisex. We created the For Men one after about a year or so, and most of our customers at that time were women, and they were saying we want something to recommend to the men in our lives. So we created that, and anyone can use it. My wife uses For Men as well sometimes, so it's really just a difference in scent.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. So if people do want to, order some, find out more about it. I mean, obviously we've mentioned Holland and Barrett there, which is easy accessible for many people in the UK. You mentioned in America, obviously, the kind of site there. But what's the best place for people to go? Is it like the website and order directly from you? Is that quite a good way to do it? Or
we're easy. We want it in people's hands, so we don't mind whether you buy it directly from us at naturaldeoco.com. You can buy it on Amazon, searching for the Natural Deodorant Company. That's in the UK and in the US. Walmart.com in the US, as I said. If you want to buy it in store, you can buy it in Holland and Barrett all around the country. You can buy it in Whole Foods, all of the London stores, Planet Organic as well. So plenty of places to get it. If you do buy it on our websites, there's a discount code at checkout. So I'll let people get it from wherever they want to get it from.
Excellent. And just that website again, was it the
naturaldeoco.com?
naturaldeoco.com. Brilliant. Okay. And you're on, I know you're on like Instagram and things as well, aren't you?
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Everywhere. So easy to find on there. And yeah, I know that I've seen, what's it, Fern? I'm not really up on the celeb things, but is it Fern Cotton? Is it?
Fern Cotton, she's a big fan. Yeah. So for the last few years, without COVID in the middle, she invited us to have a stall at her Happy Place Festival. So we'll be there again this year, 15th, 16th of July. And yeah, she's a huge fan. So
Whereabouts is that? Whereabouts is that festival?
Chiswick, I think.
Chiswick, okay, in London, yeah. That's probably not too far from you, Paul, is it?
Oh, sorry, I had it on mute then. That's not far from me. No, yeah.
Yeah, Chiswick. Yeah, certainly.
Just right, yeah, Southwest London, yeah.
Yeah, cool, fantastic, excellent. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Brett. That was really interesting, and like I say, it's not something we were coming up to 150 episodes now, and it's not something we've discussed. Certainly, it may have been mentioned, but we've not certainly discussed anything at this length before. So I think that's been really good and really interesting, and it's kind of what we're trying to do on this podcast is talk about things that maybe people aren't aware of, that, like you say, complement. If you're exercising, if you're trying to eat more healthily, if you're looking at, your sleep and your stress, and you're trying to do all the right things for yourself and your family. This is another complementary kind of avenue that you can look at if you're ready to. And I understand that not everybody will be, but the awareness that this company is there and this product is there if you do want to give it a go. And I like I say, for myself, I've last couple of months, 2-3 months, I'm totally converted to it and absolutely love the products, and will continue using them. So thanks so much for joining us, Brett.
Pleasure. Thank you for having
Brilliant. Excellent. Thank you so much for everybody listening. Please do like, share, subscribe, leave a review if you're watching or listening on a platform that allows you to do so. Please, if you can, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. If you'd like to join the Facebook group, just go into groups and search Health Oddity, and one of us will let you in. And I think we have a guest lined up for next week, don't we, Pete?
We do.
Mr. Tom Morrison?
We do. Hopefully, yes.
Getting flong and sexable?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's going to be a good one, that one, I think.
Excellent.
Not that this one wasn't, by the way. I mean,
no, this this is really interesting. Like you say, if you think, right, you're going to talk for an hour about deodorants, and we kind of, it's fascinating, really interesting. So thanks so much, Brett. And thank you, Pete. Thank you, Paul. And thank you to all of the listeners. We will see you back next week for episode 147. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Lant, Paul Bassett, and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com, or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.